then there's another session. Like I said, the high doses were interesting. So let's talk about another memorable high dose session. And I really only have two memorable high dose sessions. The next one is, I think, fascinating to people simply because it's not really about me. It's more about a lot of things that other people are interested about. So on this next session, when I leave, I don't go as far out. Thank goodness, because once you only have to be there at that place once. So I go to a world inhabited by another race of being. This race of being is humanoid in appearance, except they have exaggerated bodies, sort of. They're pretty bulky. They're bigger arms, bigger legs. They're just chunkier. They kind of look like the not the doughboy, the gingerbread man. They sort of have a gingerbread man kind of body. Everything is exaggerated limbs and things. But their world is very, very unique in that the most solid substance in their world is light. Their architecture, their buildings, is made of light, different colored lights. They did have architecture, and cannot really describe it. I wish I was an architect so I could describe some of the wonderful architect, because I suppose you can do things with light that you can't do with bricks and mortar. They had this wonderful, wonderful architecture, but the walls are sheets of light. The windows, I guess, are another type of light, and they have all of the characteristics of our type of architecture, but it's a completely different architecture because their substance is completely different. And I tried to communicate with them, but our language barrier was just huge. I'd say some things to them in my language, and they'd say some things to me in their language, but I couldn't grasp heads or tails, so they led me around their world, sort of, kind of by the hand. And they kind of guided me through different places. But I was so clumsy in their world. Like, I'd start to go into a place, and they like, they're trying to give me, like, no. Seems like I was trying to go in through windows and not through the doors, and, because I didn't know doors from windows, and I was very, very clumsy in their world. And I suppose they didn't really, I don't know if they knew it or if they just thought they could fix it or whatever. They knew that there was something wrong with me. I was not quite right. So what they did is they take me to, like, what I would call a hospital setting, and they lay me down on this slab, and then they proceed to try to make me better, to heal me from this condition that I've got, whatever, obviously there's something wrong with me. I don't know doors from windows, and I don't maneuver very well, and I can't speak the language, and on and on and on and on and like that. But I'm laying on this slab. I'm naked, and they're kind of doing some kind of magical passes, waving of hands and that sort of thing, trying to bring me into a more, trying to heal me from this condition. And then then I start to leave that world. I just cannot maintain my presence there, so I start coming back into this world, and again, I wake up or come back, and I'm conscious of being back in the experiment, back in the hospital room. And I almost left out an important point. As I'm coming back to the hospital room, something, and I'm glad this doesn't happen too often. It used to happen a lot in the early days of my shamanic training. God, in fact, those were it's almost tough to even remember those phases. in the early days, and this is why I really had to get on it and pursue what the heck was going on, learn how to control what was happening to me, is I became very intuitively psychic, empathic, to the point where when I had to go to the grocery store, I had to prepare to go to the grocery store. I mean, I had to really, really prepare. So I had to mentally in my mind saying, okay, I need cornflakes from that shelf. I need milk from there. And I'd map out where everything was. And then I'd dash to the grocery store, grab a cart, run through the aisles, grab the stuff, throw it into the cart, and make a beeline for the checkout stand so I could get out of there as quickly as possible. You say, why is that? Because during that phase of my life, I was very, very psychic, telepathic. And going into a grocery store was like walking into a rock concert where there was more than one band playing. In fact, there was a lot of bands playing all simultaneously at once. I could hear what the people in the next aisle were thinking. And I'd get to the checkout line, and and then I could see what the girl at the checkout was doing. The man behind me, in front of me, this lady's worried about this, that, and the other thing. The man behind me is like trying to make some kind of business deal, and all of this stuff is like happening. I mean, it was a cacophony of noise. So I just like kind of keep my thoughts focused, pay and then leave the grocery store and get back home where there was enough space to where I couldn't hear so much stuff. The only thing that was talking to me was the previous occupants of the building or whatever. Every once in a while I could hear a conversation coming out of the fireplace or something like that had happened in the room a long time ago, or some small thing like that. But anyway, back to coming back into the hospital room. As I'm coming back, all of a sudden sort of like this thing reawakens. And I'm coming back into the hospital room, and all of a sudden I sense the disease of everybody on that ward. It's like, oh God, cancer. Oh my God, they've got intestinal. Oh my jeez. And all of these medical conditions are suddenly hitting me all at once as I'm coming back into the room. And I'm thinking, oh shoot. And then some part of me wants to heal them. But the process is happening so fast, because actually, I used to do healing. It's happening so fast, I really can't do anything. All I can do is just be aware of, oh, they've got cancer in that room. There they got this, and I'm just aware. And all of a sudden, whunk, and I'm back in my body. And I'm thinking, and I was thinking to myself, man, they really shouldn't do these things in a hospital.